and welcome to the Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast for Montclair's local yarn store. My name's Amanda.
This is Jen. Hi.
So this is podcast episode 33 and socially distanced episode number 9. And as Haley said, we are coming to you from the new Yarnia. So we're so excited.
And I'm coming to you today still from my house. I think Kathleen might be at the store for this podcast, the new one, which would be super exciting. Let's see, be sure to like and subscribe to us down below if you haven't already. Do that now, so you don't forget at the end. And then you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, I should start doing Snapchat again when I'm there on the weekend, so I'll be sure to do that. I'll have some new snaps for you this weekend. And sign up for our newsletter at shopyarnia.com. On Facebook, we're Yarnia LLC, and everywhere else we're Shop Yarnia, including on Ravelry, Shop Yarnia as well, and you can see all of our Ravelry groups and fun, or our Ravelry group with all the discussions we have and things like that. You can always ask questions, and one of us will get back to you.
And in a little bit, we're going to do a tour and take you around the new store so you can have the virtual experience if you haven't been here in person yet. Yes. Or even if you have, maybe we'll show you some things that you didn't notice when you were here. But I did an Instagram post today, and every word was true. I feel like we're in our new home. We really do feel like we're home.
It's so much more just like a breath of air, you know?
Yeah. There's room for people to roam. It's big enough that we can have 3 to 4 shoppers in the store at a time. We only do 4, either if we've got people who are pairs, like a mom and a kid, or, mom and a teen, whatever, or a parent and a teen. Or if there's more than one person working in the store, like Haley is often here working with me sometimes, mainly to do inventory, but if we get a lot of, customers that need assistance with finding yarns or getting yarns from our overs or whatever, Haley is often the one when she's here who runs and takes care of those things. So anyway, that's the scoop from us.
Town.
That's what's happening. Yeah, so that's our around town.
I didn't even think of anything else to say.
No, it's August. It's hot. It's
it's like warm enough that you like get fatigued by like going outside. And like spending time in the heat.
Yeah, I avoid the heat as much as possible. I am not a summer lover, but
I am, but I'm still exhausted.
Well, you got to the beach for a few days. That was nice.
That was sort of
or the shore, as they say in New Jersey.
The LBI. Yes.
Very nice.
Very nice.
With your pod.
Relaxing.
your pod seat.
I highly recommend, if you have the opportunity, to hot tub on the roof or get one, because that's
very
where I
relaxing.
spent the whole time. Everyone was like, why are you still in the hot tub on the roof? I'm like, why wouldn't you be in the hot tub on the roof? So
there you go.
That's what I've been doing.
All right. And I've been still playing Animal Crossing. We finally unlocked terraforming.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm playing now as me and as Haley. And there's a lot of terraforming going on. And we visited Jen's Island. It's pretty amazing. And I've found the place that you can get other dream passwords. There's a site. I will make a note to remember to tell Amanda what it is. She can put it in. It's like a little web page that somebody created so that you can enter your own dream code. And then
cute.
like if you want people to come visit your island, so you just go to this website. If you want, you enter your dream code, or you ask it to just give you a random dream code, and you can see other people's islands.
That's fun.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, it's a Nintendo Switch game called Animal Crossing, and the latest version of it came out right before quarantine started in the U.S.
Like March 1st it came out. So people were, I had seen that people were excited about it, but then they had like...
A lot of people had a lot of time on their hands,
so many sales.
They went wild. So we have not had that much time to spend on it, which is why we're a little late to the terraforming party. But I am enjoying it.
We have arrived fashionably late.
It is my little morning decompression to ease myself into the day, and I quite enjoy it. Yes. All right, so we will be back to talk about finished objects and whips.
Hello. And I'm just going to get right into it. So I'm on vacation. So what's going on around town for me is that I'm back up at the Cape. We're hanging out. I just kicked all of the boys out to go to the ocean beach. So they're going to have a good time there. And I got to see a couple of people. There's actually a bunch of people from New Jersey who are up in this area of the Cape. So it was nice to see them from opposite sides of the deck and wave hi to everyone, which was always a good thing. And what else is going on around town? We are now going to be fully remote for school for September, which I think is probably the right decision. Although check back in with me in September and we'll see how we're doing with a first grader and a sixth grader. It'll be fun. And also, I'm hoping that some of you guys have been able to make it into the store and see our new space, which I'm super excited for. And I think that either Amanda or Kathleen hopefully will be showing a bit of a tour. Or you can check out some pictures online and see our fantastic new space at 127 Watchung Avenue, right in Watchung Plaza, on the same side of the street as Dot Reader and Local Coffee and Bluestone, some of my favorite places. So we are now open for in-store shopping Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 11 to 4. And we can have 3 people in the store at a time. Masks are required because masks are what is going to keep us all safe. And yeah, so it's super exciting. You can do in-store shopping, but we're also still doing curbside because not everybody's comfortable going into a store. And honestly, sometimes it's not really a bad solution if you're like, hey, I ran out of that yarn and I need some more. Like, can I just swing by the back door of 127 Watchung Avenue and pick it up? Yes, you can. Awesome. Call us, email us. Yeah, it's great. So let's see.
So welcome. Hope you're having a great August. I feel like this summer has gone fast and slow all at the same time. Let's see, a couple things going on around town. First of all, I hope everybody that's local or on the northeast, up here in the northeast, or I guess anywhere on the east coast, right? Got through tropical storm or Hurricane Isaias okay over the past couple of weeks. We were luckier than some, but not lucky as others. We lost power for about 4 days at our house. And yeah, it was what it was, I guess. Yeah, lots of kids being sweaty, send them outside, let's play in the sprinkler. And everybody off of screen time for a few days because when you're conserving battery power, watching YouTube is not a high priority, especially because our cell service is not very good. But I was really grateful. The town did a great job distributing ice to all of us who needed it to put in our refrigerator, make sure everything was great. And a huge thank you. I got super lucky. One of our dear customers at Yarnia happened to be in when I was there on Saturday because we actually lost power on Friday morning. So when I was there on Saturday, I was saying like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of our food in the freezer. And she's like, I have an empty shelf in my freezer. Come on by. Oh my goodness. Such a lifesaver. Because we were able to move out everything that would be spoiled by thawing and, not coming up to room temperature, but thawing and refreezing is not good for a lot of things in the freezer. So yeah, I mean, things like ice cream didn't make it at all because those melt first. But and our freezer had been out about 36 hours by the time we were able to move it over. But most things like meats that were packed tightly toward the back, those were all still frozen and stayed frozen until we were able to have power back on. Yay! And some things we left in the freezer, like I had some rhubarb that I'd cut up earlier for a pie. That's fine if it thaws and then refreezes it again, and now my daughter's like, oh yeah, we have rhubarb. I'm going to make a rhubarb pie tomorrow. So bonus, maybe. Maybe from the whole... And do you know what else? I cleaned out my freezer. Because when do you... okay, maybe some responsible viewers out there thaw their freezer every year and clean it, and that's awesome. And if you have a good strategy for that, let me know. But I haven't cleaned our freezer in years. So, yeah, I mean, once we moved all the meats out and we were like reorganizing stuff, I was like, I'm going to clean this freezer. So, some vinegar and water solution, spray. Yeah, so I scrubbed down all the sides, all the little bins, pulled them all out, washed them soap and water, let them air dry, and then, and then like once we had our food back and the freezer was back on and cool again, I was able to put everything back in. But yeah, I mean, having a freezer that wasn't frozen was actually a really good opportunity to scrub it out. So now we look like we have a sparkling clean new freezer. Yay! And the refrigerator, we did sort of the same thing. And the fridge, it never got too bad because we always kept it stocked with ice, so it was fine, and nothing really lost too much temperature there. But I mean, if you're stocking your fridge with ice and it's not made to be stocked with ice, I mean, none of us are living with 1930s ice boxes anymore where you've got like the container that doesn't drip all over everything. Yeah, but putting bags of ice in your fridge, we ended up with a lot of excess water in the fridge, which was fine. But I mean, excess water in the fridge meant that now everything is nice and soaked for a little bit. All those stuck on condiments that have been on a shelf for several months. Yeah, makes it easier to scrub off. So yeah, now I have a clean fridge, clean freezer, and kids that got a break from screen time for a few days, even if it was 90 degrees, which, oh well. It was okay. At least it wasn't freezing, right? Like, if this had been middle of winter, we'd have had a much bigger problem. But summertime, wear less. Yeah, so then, let's see, what else? I don't know about all of you guys, but I'm thinking about school starting again. I've been super lucky. My kids have been at Stephen Kate's camp here in Montclair for the past 3 weeks. While infection rates have been pretty low here in the New Jersey area, up near northern New Jersey area. So I thought it was a good opportunity to send them to camp, get them to play with other kids outside, even though they were in like pods that didn't interact at all. They stayed in pods that were pretty consistent week to week. And your little pod of 10 people only played with each other and one counselor, which I think was a good way to manage it. And then like as the little pod moved from activity to activity, those activities were cleaned in between. But so far so good. And this is their last week there. They certainly have had a really good time. Definitely a break from mom school, and the rest of our summer. So they got out for a few weeks. And then we're going to have a short little trip to cap off the summer, and then back the last week of summer, back to mom school, and then real school. Our school is, let's say, my younger two school-age kids go to Lauderdale Academy in Montclair, and they're going to be 100% virtual, at least the first 2 months, and then they're going to reassess. They have a plan, but they're going to reassess at that point. And then my daughter in the high school, they have a virtual option, and she's choosing that virtual option. So our days are going to look quite different than a normal beginning of school year. But still, I think we remember how it was last spring. And the kids are still looking forward to getting a few new school supplies. Although I don't see the need for a new backpack if you're coming to the dining room. So, so looking forward to the beginning of school, but also enjoying these last couple of weeks of summer vacation before we start getting back in the swing of things. Let's see. So I think that's it for me for Around Town. Like I said, August is usually pretty quiet here in Montclair, and I'm sure we'll have updates, and September gets to be quite busy, and I'm sure a lot of folks are thinking about new ways to do some of our favorite fall things as we get into September. Also, Yarnia will be 3 in September, so that'll be something exciting too.
Hello. This
Hi.
is Haley and Kathleen. We probably didn't introduce ourselves last time.
But we're introducing ourselves now, and we're back to talk about some finished objects.
Yes.
So Haley is going to go first, and she's wearing a new finished object.
Which, I don't have much this week for this episode, but I've spent most of my time finishing this, which I started right before, maybe like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
And so I was visiting my grandma, so I did most of the pattern when I was with her. So, like, it was kind of an intensive, like, that was the only project I brought. Mm-hmm. And I was very pleasantly surprised at how well the pattern worked out here. I'll stand up because I hope I'm not too tall for the camera.
And the pattern, we should say what the pattern is.
Oh,
it's
yes, I'm very disorganized today.
Coatlique.
Coatlique by Stephanie Gutierrez from the the summer issue of Pom Pom.
Yep.
Which,
here's the pattern page.
And I know I said this last time, but she's also known as, like, her Instagram is under Nomad Stitches, and she has a lot of really nice, specifically, like, tops in crochet and, like, mosaic crochet, which I was very excited that I unintentionally, like, did get to do one of her patterns already, which I, like, had been looking at her Instagram for a while and seeing that I wanted to do one. So.
Yep, so this is issue 33 of Pom Pom.
And these are two different covers.
They're two different covers. We still have a few copies left in the store. If you are interested, give us a call, or you can even order it on our website now.
And they do have, there's at least 4 crochet patterns in here, which normally it's mostly knitting. So as soon as I noticed that, I was like, I'll take a look.
I definitely feel like I'm seeing a wave of younger crochet, both designers and makers. I've, in the 2 full weeks that we've been here in the store, we've had, lots of returning folks and some new people too, and definitely, just like you, a lot of, people in their late teens, early 20s who were rocking the crochet.
Yes.
So
I'll give you some details about this. It is done in Zoe in coconut. Toasted coconut is the white. Aquamarine probably in the blue, and the burnt orange
caramel
terracotta. Yes, it's in caramel.
Yeah, because I had played with that for something, and then I decided I wound up going with the cotton cashmere.
So I had to finagle it a little bit, because I did at first do the medium, but then it was too big, and then I started doing the small.
Because you had a hard time getting exact gauge, right? You were a little bit over gauge.
I started with the hook that they suggested, and it was like double gauge. So, and I'm usually like around normal, but I guess it was just like.
Maybe just the mosaic, I don't know. But it was even before you got to the mosaic, right?
You the griddle stitch that I did the gauge swatch in, and I don't know. So I ended up having to do 20 stitches less than the small size. Like, it's bottom up, this pattern. And so, like, it wasn't really a lot of math until the top part, but I just, like, it was, every size was an increase of 20, an increment of 20, so I just did 20 less, so it fit. Because it's supposed to have, like, 1 to 3 inches of positive ease, I think. That's when it's more, right? And it's not tight fitting. So that's kind of what I got. And I kind of was thinking of making the neckline a little bit, like, lower, but it fits really nicely.
It fits really well.
And I didn't want to go too far off. Like, I, like, had to rein
It is
myself
a store
in a little
sample,
bit.
So, yeah.
So I wanted to make it closer to the pattern than I, like, normally would have if I was just, like, going off. Like, normally, I like the thin straps, but I was like, I should just try to do the pattern like it is.
As it's written. Yeah, and you did.
The numbers are different, but I followed the pattern, like, for the shaping and all that.
Definitely.
So, yeah, so this is, I don't know if you could see the back when I was turning around earlier, but
like a little slight racer back look, but not really. Just the arms come in a tiny bit. Yeah, so very nice.
So this is my project. I spent time on it, but the mosaic crochet, it was really satisfying because after you did a couple, like, I just kind of was like, I'm taking a leap of faith here, like, I, like, reading it, I was like, oh, I can't in my brain, but I just was like, okay, I'll do it. And after, like, 3 rows, I was like, this is fine, because it's not, I thought it was, like, back post, front post double crochet, but it's just, like, in the front loop. Like, it's actually, it's really clever and like, not, like, beginner simple necessarily, but, like, if you're, like, experienced in crochet, if you just do a couple rows, you'll catch it really quickly.
Cool.
So
nice.
That's my suggestion.
It's so pretty. Very
and
pretty.
I enjoy it.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. So I should be wearing one of my finished objects, which is my lace panel tank by Rosemary Drysdale. However, I wore it the other day in the store, and I have not had a chance to block it again. And it was quite warm that day. And we put a picture in the newsletter. I'll send that one to Amanda so she can drop it in here. I'll hold it up. It's so nice. It came out really nice,
so
but
soft.
It definitely, when I wore it on this very hot day and I wound up like running around at the end of the day and getting a little sweaty, it did stretch out a little bit. So I definitely need to wash it and block it again before I wear it. So, but anyway, I do love it.
Very like cotton summer tank top.
Yeah.
Here today.
Well, and also earlier we both had on Zoe too. We both.
Someone was looking at Zoe like earlier today,
and she said, "Do you have anything
and
showing
we were
this
like,
worked up?"
We're both
wearing it. We're wearing it. So, so that is one finished object, which I'm really happy with. And, you know, we did both finish our summer tops in summer this year, which was nice.
Yay!
Sometimes that doesn't happen. I think it's more common with a winter thing. Sometimes, too, like it can be, depends on when you start. But,
I know I'm already kind of having some, like, sweaters on the nog, and I'm like, I shouldn't wait anymore. It's...
Well, 2 weeks from today.
The end of summer snuck up on me, not gonna lie. Like, most of my friends are going back to school, and someone said, like, oh yeah, I'm going to school in like 2 weeks, and I was like, you're what? Like, I still, like, it was March, and now it's like almost September, and here we are, like.
Well, but 2 weeks from today, we are going to be on our family vacation. Yeah. A nice little getaway in the Adirondacks, very quiet place. No one else around, especially because people will have gone back to school. So, so we're looking forward to that getting away. But because of that, I've been thinking about what I'm going to work on when I'm there.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to.
So one of the things I would like to do, well, that's more getting into whips.
Yeah.
But, actually,
that's like the pre-whip.
Well, this kind of bridges the gap between whip and finished objects. So this sweater that I'm wearing is an older finished object. I don't think I've worn it on the podcast before. It's called Devonshire. It's by Pam Powers. It was in Twist Collective 9 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So 9.5 years ago. So this was made, according to the pattern, which is a DK weight sweater. And I've gotten so much wear out of this. I made it pretty quickly after that magazine, the issue came out. And I'll talk about my next version of this in...
next version?
Yes, next version.
That's the one. Okay,
in whips. Because it's a soon-to-be whip.
What yarn is this? Is this matte?
No, this is...
I know it's pre-store.
Something. Yeah, it's pre-store. It's something I got, like...
It almost looks like...
How long ago?
Crisp.
At Sticks and Stitches. It does, sort of, yeah. It was, I remember South African. I don't remember the brand. Anyway.
Is that us for finished objects?
I think that is us for finished objects.
So, we are speedy today.
Yes, we are.
Snappy speedy.
Trying to be speedy also because we're taping this on Wednesday, which is knit night. So
yes.
And we've been working in the store most of the day. We got to pick up dinner somewhere, eat, eat, and then...
I didn't bring the whip that I'm going to be working on at knit night because it's cutting up plastic bags, and that's just... The visual aesthetic of that is... You can picture it, and I don't need to show it. So
I am going to dive into my finished objects. I have nothing finished. That's not 100% true. I do have some squares of my mitered crochet, mitered granny square crochet afghan that I'm working on. I don't know if you can see. The light is tricky. The light is tricky. Anyway, I have two different options right now. I have this, that has the little purple guy in the middle. And then I have this that has a yellow guy in the middle. And so I'm working on these two. So I finished a bunch of these. I've kind of toggled back into working on some of the crochet things. So this isn't really a finished object. But, like, I got nothing else. So I'm getting as close as I can. How's that work? Our finished object is still the store. I did finish my big needlepoint project, which is going to be a pillow cover. I did not bring it with me up at the Cape because I finished it literally like 2 nights before we went to the Cape because I was like, I don't want to pack this thing. It's huge. But it's completely done. So it just needs to be blocked, backed, and made into a pillow. We'll see how long that takes. I have a couple other finished needlepoint things that also need to be blocked, backed, and put into a pillow and have been like that for 2 years. So, anyone's guess. Anyway,
let's see. Things. I haven't finished anything. So I have no finished objects this week, which I think is okay because I've had a very good pace of finished objects so far this summer. So I'm not worried about it too much. I can't finish something every 2 weeks, I guess. I usually do, but not this time. My projects are pretty big. And I have to say, I've been on sort of a cast-on kick. I would have finished my Helen Stewart Cirrus socks, but instead I got distracted. I think for a good cause, because Evelyn Bourne, who teaches at Yarnia sometimes, is a local knitter, and is now, or very soon to be, a knitwear. Well, she is a designer now, and soon to be a published knitwear designer. But she, over the past few months, has designed a sock pattern, Justitia Socks, and she named them after like that Greek goddess of justice, right? Who has the blindfold, which I think is really good for this point in history or current events, right? To think on those classical figures that reminded us that justice should be blind and fair. So that's what I've been thinking about while I'm knitting these socks, but I'm test knitting for her, so these are not out yet, but I will let you know when they are. And just as a sneak peek, is I'm allowed to show sneak peeks of this test knit. Sometimes when you're test knitting, you have to always ask the designer, because sometimes they say don't show it on social media, and other folks say show works in progress on social media, so we get some buzz around it. I'm really excited for these, so happy to show them to you. I actually pulled my needles off the other sock project I was working on and put them on these because I couldn't wait to cast on. But this is a really cool design. It's got these cables on the front, right? And they really pop because it's on a reverse stockinette background, and they're twisted, so they really pop. And this cable design goes all the way down, and in the back it's a 3x1 rib, which is my favorite rib on a sock. It really hugs your feet. I love this. I finished this like 1 half day of conference calls and then 2 or 3 conference calls on here. This is a super like meditative pattern, just enough to keep you interested, but you can definitely like memorize it and keep going, which is perfect. So yeah, I think I'm about probably 40% done with the leg, and I'll finish up the rest of the leg this week, I'm sure, and turn the heel this weekend, and be well on track for finishing my test knit in time. But these are the Justitia Socks by Evelyn Bourne. I'm knitting them in Ancient Arts. You guys know I love Ancient Arts, Socknado. But I've really been wanting to do, I don't know, I feel like beiges and warm neutrals are a thing this year, have been emerging since last year. Everything was grays for a very long time, right? Like crisp whites and into grays. I mean, my walls are gray, which I like. I really like gray. But so much, if you follow fashion, has been more into beiges, browns, you know, more champagne-y colors, warm neutrals. Maybe we just all need to be cozy, right? So we have this Socknado. This is the Golden Retriever colorway. Socknado has some really cool cats and dogs lines where they donate $1 Canadian for every skein to animal nonprofits, you know, like the animal shelters in, well, I guess in Canada, because Ancient Arts is a Canadian brand, but I don't mind helping out animals in Canada either. But I really like the cause, and I like the color. I think it's the perfect warm neutral, and a good neutral helps show sock patterning really well. So I definitely, especially if I'm test knitting these and we're gonna photograph them nicely, I want to make sure you can really see the stitch pattern that Evelyn's worked so hard on. So yay, Justitia Socks, you will see more of these. I will definitely be done with one by the next podcast because I have a test knit deadline. So you'll see a finished one of these next podcast. I won't be done with two, I'll be done with one. Yay. Next thing is my Comfort Fade Cardi. I told you guys I would work on it. I brought it out of hibernation at the last podcast, and I was like, I'm going to work on this. And man, taking things out of hibernation really makes a difference. I have made so much progress on this. I put it down by my desk for a few days, and look at that, guys. I have gotten through the next color. I'm ready to fade again. I can't believe it. This is craziness. So this is the Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry. It's a simple raglan cardigan. Yeah, it's supposed to be all reverse stockinette on the outside. Really chill pattern. I can't leave well enough alone. So I am doing the Nightingale. Yeah, I think Nightingale by Nora Gone. Yeah, I just took the cable from that sweater, which is an incredible cable. I put it on the back of my Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry. Yeah, and so that's what I got here. But see, now you can see this cable. I did it! I divided for the sleeves. I finished my fade. You can see here where it's fading from the Reaper's rags up here at the top down to, I forget what color is the second color, and this Reaper's rags is the darkest gray. This is Spun Right Round Squish DK. The second gray, Quake. This is Quake by Squish DK. That's my little Yarnia stitch marker, progress keeper. Yay. Reminds me how far I've gone since I finished fading. And I think, and I checked, like, I'm ready to fade again. So my next color is Heart Eyes, and that's this one here. So I'll start fading this color. And I've actually, so this Nightingale pattern is 2 pages long, like 120 something like that, I forget. Rows of chart, and none of it repeats. Let's see if I can get it to, there you go, now you can see it better. And it looks like a stained glass window, the way that it sort of goes. I love it. But yeah, so this is Quake, and it's going to fade into Heart Eyes, Squish DK, and then go for probably half the page of that chart, because I finished, like I said, the first page, just started the second page. I should start color number 3, and then color number 4 is Pigeon. which is a nice neutral. There's Hard Eyes and there's Pigeon, right? And they're both like, they fade super well together. All four of these fade super well together. So yeah, yay! I sort of can't believe. I mean, I remember from the last one I did, I can't believe how fast these go. And then I only get stopped because, and honestly, I haven't knit on this for about, well, I haven't knit on this since we lost power last week, because I do a lot of knitting in the evening, or on conference calls, and obviously I can't have Zoom calls if we have no electricity, so I wasn't doing that. And then, yeah, on the weekend, like, I ended up having to work a lot this weekend, anyway. And then in the evening, I can't do cables in gray in the dark, reading a tiny, tiny chart. So this has been on hold, but I'll put it by my desk and it should get, yeah, I should be able to finish the fade this week. Oh, and maybe I'll take this up to, on our holiday, on our little vacation. I am driving, so I can't, unfortunately, I don't have tons of car knitting time, which is the best. I love car knitting time. But we have too many people to fit into one car, so both my husband and I have to drive. So yeah, so I'll be driving and kids will be singing and making noise in the back seat. Maybe I'll bring my earbuds. But yay. So, but I still can take it and then knit on it while I'm, yeah, chilling a little bit and not working 11 hours a day every day, which would be good. Yay! So that is Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry. If you wonder where my bags are from, I make them myself. I think I've mentioned that on the podcast before. But yeah, I make most of my bags myself. This one I made with some little magnets in the front, and long handles, but we have great bags at Yarnia. I just can't justify taking them away from you guys when I'm perfectly capable of making them for myself with all that fabric stash that's in my basement. But then at the same time, I also never have time to sew a bag. There's one Peapod Threads knit night bag, which is a big one that we have that's purple, and I love it. It has so many pockets. But I'm gonna stick with the ones I have. Yay! Again, Comfort Fade Cardi. Highly recommend. I can't wait till I'm done with that cable though, and then it is gonna be super mindless knitting. Yay! All right. The next thing I have, which I am super excited to show you, is I have made progress, and I've made more mental progress than I have even, like, physical progress. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't have a plan last time we talked, and now I have a plan, and I feel much better about it. But this is my Helen Stewart Stillness shawl. This is the front. Yeah. I'm going to try not to dump stitches off because now I have 512 stitches on this shawl. Obviously not blocked, so this lace is going to open up a ton. This pattern is fully released now. All of the mystery of the knit along is done, and honestly, like, if I had been following the pattern exactly, I really love Helen Stewart's knit alongs. If I had been doing this in fingering weight, it would have been the perfect size shawl. It's really nice and big. I love her 3 colors that she did it in, and it was, yeah, I could have totally stayed on track and finished it within the mystery knit along time, but I'm not following the pattern exactly. Plus I have this cake, because what I really wanted to do, I wanted to do a Helen Stewart pattern because I love her shawls, but then I also had this gloriousness, which is an Apple Tree Knits. Oops. Yeah, Apple Tree Knits cake, right? Lace weight silk. Oh my goodness. So that's the remainder of the outside of the cake. I'm about a third of the way through it. This was the beginning of it. It started with the purple in the very center, and then went to this deep blue, and now I'm in an aqua. It's going to fade to that green, which I really love, and then the warm colors. But that means that I need to make this, if I'm only a third of the way through, and I'm probably, 75% through the pattern, which is really great to use a Helen Stewart pattern for this. I didn't even think about it, but the way that she writes her patterns, she tells you what percent done you're done with the pattern each step through. So I could really gauge like, oh, I'm 60% through the design, but I'm only 25% through my skein. I need to add X amount more, more rows or whatever, to compensate, and be able to use up a lot more of my skein, which is what I want to do. I don't care how big this gets. I'm going to use up a lot more. And the broader circumference, right, the more yarn you use up for not as much additional depth. So what I've decided to do, and you can see this pattern, and if you look on her, at the finished product on Ravelry 2, you can see this pattern has some texture down here, and then some simple lace, right? Some little V's lace. And then we have another texture here, these little stars. And then you're just supposed to have some eyelets, 3 rows of eyelets, stripes. And then it has a scalloped border. And that was definitely not going to be enough to use up my skein. That was going to use up about 40% of my skein. This is a pie shawl, so that means that you double your stitches at regular increases. It's all based on circumference of circle and radius of circle math. But I just did a round of increase, or a row of increases here where I doubled the stitch count because the radius had doubled. Circumference equals 2 pi r. Radius, if you double the radius to 2r, right? R is what you start with. Double the radius to 2r, that also doubles the circumference. So that means you double your stitches, and it now fits your circumference. But that's the very simplistic way of saying that. But what that essentially means was I need to add in extra section of something. So what I decided to do was do a additional lace panel in there, and I wanted to do, so this one that we have in the shawl so far, right? This lace that's here is relatively short and small, which I think is fine when it's at the beginning of the pattern, but now that we're out here, a little bit further depth into the shawl, I feel like we need a deeper lace panel, right? So this one is about 12 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 3 times. Well, it's 24 rows, right? Because you only have the lace on one side. So it's about 24 rows here, the whole thing. So I want one that's at least double. And, okay, so what I did was I found my Japanese knitting stitch Bible by Hitomi Shida. This, it's never been on the podcast before, I don't think. It was on my blog at the old website, but not on the new one. Maybe I'll do something about that, because this is really a great resource. We don't carry a lot of books at Yarnia, because when we do, I find them on Amazon for 60% of what we can sell them for, even on a good discount. So it's better for you to get them on Amazon, and and we'll sell you the yarn because you can't get it there. So I love this, and I'll talk about more books in a minute that I really like. But I encourage you to if you have books that that you're going to use over and over, they're really worth the investment. I use this one a lot. I put one cable from this on the back of my first Comfort Fade Cardi. This was the book I used. And I really like this. It's a great resource. Beautiful, beautiful lace panels. Okay, so what I did was I wanted to find a lace panel that was about, you know, maybe a 25 row repeat, and then I'll do it 2 to 3 times, right, for like a 50 to 75 row lace panel in the middle of this shawl. And that's going to give me a lot of depth to get through a lot more color. And then I'll do some more of this, then after that I'm going to do a little bit more of like this star design that's here, or the little wrap stitch design that's here. I don't know, something more subtle, repeated from the top part of this pattern. And then I'll do the scallop border that Helen Stewart has. So that's my plan for finishing up this shawl, which it took me a long Saturday morning to figure this out. But that's what I'm going to do. And so what I did was I'm taking this pattern here, this one here, and I'll repeat it 2 to 3 times, either 50 or 75 rows. But I think that one's going to be really nice. It sort of complements those V's that were in the top of the pattern. I'm not doing this twisted cable-y thing. I'm only doing these and separating them by 1 row of pearl, 1 pearl stitch, and then starting another repeat of those. And those repeat, I want to say like 32 times across the shawl. So, yay, now I have a plan. I feel better. It stresses me out when I'm like knitting into the unknown. But no, now I have a plan, and it's good. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be great. It's still going to look similar to Helen Stewart's pattern, but not exactly. It's definitely going to be my own. So I'm very excited about that. Yay! If you have any questions about that, if I went too fast, just comment below and I'll try to answer them. I think that was a little bit disjointed, my explanation of how I figure all that out. But it was disjointed in my head too, honestly, before I gave it a whole lot of thought. But happy to sort of explain more of like how I took that. I think a good benefit of this shawl is that it is a pie shawl, which has some like clear, not too hard math behind the increase rates that you can sort of judge like what your proportions are if you want to do high school math. Let's see. Okay, I have one more thing. One more thing that's super, sort of exciting. I don't know. You'll have to decide if you find it super exciting or moderately exciting or, that's cool. There's a lot of cool things about this next work in progress. Okay, so, first, I have a little announcement. I'm 23 weeks pregnant. Yay. Ta-da. So, yeah, I haven't told anybody. I mean, I haven't like announced it on the podcast yet, but now I need to announce it because I'm starting to knit baby things. Yay! So, y'all are going to start wondering like, why is she knitting so many baby things? The last baby sweater I knit really was for a friend who had a baby like a week and a half ago. So she got that sweater. But these are for me. We are having a baby sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Supposedly December 10th, but I have yet to have a baby on their due date, so sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I've had them as many as 2 weeks early and as many as 10 days late. There's no promises. Now the thing is, this is boy number 3. The last 2 are boys, and this is a boy. So, yay! We can reuse clothes. The birthdays of the last 2 were June 16th and May 31st. That's sort of warmer than December. So I am lacking in the warm newborn boy stuff. So that's what I'm working on, is warm things. This first thing that I'm making is Embladress. It's by Tina Hauglund. She's Norwegian. The pattern is in Norwegian. I'm knitting it out of, I really love my Demyaka Lopa, right? And I had lots of leftover from Demyaka Lopa, especially for these contrast colors. And I was like, well, actually this gray was my main color for my body of my Demyaka Lopa. And I was like, I love this. I think it's super cozy, and the thing about wool, and a lot of customers come in the store and they're like, oh, I don't want to put wool on babies, it's so scratchy. Wool's not that scratchy if you get good wool. Wool is scratchy if you get wool that's not carded properly, or not carded thoroughly, right? We use wool for different purposes. I would definitely not knit for a baby with rug wool, which tends to have a lot of the guard hairs left in, because who cares, it's on your feet, or keep your shoes on, right? And those guard hairs can be like really sturdy, because that's what they do. They're like, keep the coat sturdy. But you know, phenol is non-superwash wool. It's 100% wool. It's got a little bit of lamb's wool mixed in, but yeah, it doesn't have sticky guard hairs. It's not like 18 micron. So, I mean, it definitely has like a little bit of a rustic hand, but that's okay. And if you've ever had winter babies, you know that putting them in those like fleecy polyester sleep suits, they get sweaty, their little foreheads get the little beads on them, because that doesn't breathe at all, right? Fleece is not a breathable fabric. It's cozy, it's warm, but like, especially if you're in a new construction home and you've got like very nicely regulated heating and cooling, that's probably great. In a 1930s house, we are lucky to have central heating and cooling, forced air, yay. But yeah, some rooms get hotter than others. Some rooms stay cold even though the heat's on. Not cold obviously, but I mean chilly. But wool is super breathable. Even, I don't, if you've ever been out in a summer day, right, like, and you're wearing cotton gets wet and it clings to you and it stays wet. Wool doesn't do that. It'll absorb like up to 30% of its weight in moisture and still feel dry. So yeah, nice. It's a really good temperature regulating material for little ones. So really excited to make some little knitted things. Now, does that mean that everything I make is going to be wool? No, because we have some fantastic baby acrylics and polyesters in the store, and I'm going to use those 100%. But especially for, something that I'm going to put over probably a onesie and it'll be temperature regulating. I like, and not to mention breathable, washable. It's definitely washable. I'm not going to throw it in the dryer, but I'm going to wash it with the rest of his clothes. And, fire resistant, if you're worried about that. Yeah, it's a great, safe, and ecologically friendly material, right? Biodegradable. There's no microplastics that your baby's going to inhale from wool. It's all a good thing. So, yay wool. But yeah, so I really like it. But you'll see me knit with a variety of things because I like all sorts of things. I just definitely, when folks come in and say, oh, I can't put wool on babies, I'm like, yeah, you absolutely can, and they do great in wool. So you'll see my little one in this. This is going to be, it's actually a onesie. So this is the yoke. And then I just started on the body. It's going to be dark navy. I didn't use this color in my Demyaka Lopa, but I had bought it to swatch with. Ultimately decided not to use it, and so now I am. I can't have enough of these colors in my stash because of stuff like this. You're like, yay, I just want to add a little bit of color here. I'm also using this gray, like this medium gray, and a white. Those are the colors that are on my yoke. Yeah, so now I just continue knitting in the round. This is steeked. It'll have button bands. It'll have little arms coming off here, and little feeties on the bottom. The feeties are steeked too, so you can, they have buttons. I was actually looking this morning. I think I'm going to put snaps in mine, which means I don't have to put button holes in the button bands, and I'll do a little demo on how I put snaps in button bands for a baby onesie. I like snaps better than buttons, honestly. They don't come undone. Yay. So, this will be Embladress by Tina Hauglund. Oh, another thing, this pattern is only in Norwegian. I learned something super cool because I was like, okay, I'm good with languages. I can handle just Norwegian. And so I got the pattern, bought it, was looking at it. I was trying to translate like word for word on Google Translate. It was really challenging because like knitting terms don't translate very well, if you know what I mean. Like they can mean other things that are more common usage in language. So I was really struggling. And then I was like, maybe I should probably just copy the whole paragraph. I can figure this out. So I copied and pasted the whole paragraph of knitting instructions in Norwegian into Google Translate, Norwegian to English, and it translated the whole thing in knitting terminology. I am serious. Like, cast on a certain number of stitches, knit one, purl one, K1/P1 for, so many centimeters. I was like, wow. Google knows not only knitting terminology, but also the abbreviations. So yeah, at this point, I'm not afraid to download anything. I'm actually really curious to download some Japanese patterns now and see, like, will it translate Japanese to English in knitting terminology? Because that would be incredible. There are some awesome Japanese and Korean only patterns out there that now I'm super eager to try out, because you can like literally copy paste the whole paragraph into Google Translate and you've got an English pattern. Yay! So the more you know. You can read easily foreign patterns. Yay. Thank you, Google, for this thing. Yay! So those are my works in progress this week.
Okay, we're back with works in progress. Yay!
Works in progress, yep.
Which I have basically none.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I wasn't going to go first.
Okay, all right. So as I talked about a little bit in finished objects, this is the Devonshire sweater that I made pretty shortly after this pattern came out in 2011. Mm-hmm. I can check on Ravelry, but
Didn't you say 2009? Oh no, 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 9 years ago.
So 1990 was only 10 years ago.
You weren't even born in 1990.
I know, but I feel like everything was 10 years ago.
It's so fun.
Like 2010 wasn't 10 years ago. That was like half a year ago.
So here's the pattern. This is my original pattern my original copy that I worked from when I printed it out again. So
That's
love
impressive.
this sweater. I have gotten so much use out of it. It's actually in the design it only has one button, but I liked the two buttons.
Cute,
it's kind of cute. Yep. So
and those are like probably like ones that you had like
these are shell buttons from my collection. So I was thinking, actually shortly after we opened the store, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to make this again. I think I want to make it in black because I tend to wear black a lot, especially in the winter, fall and winter. But I do have some other like colorful turtlenecks and things like that. So, but if I wore black with it, then I still have my everyday aura of black. So I decided to make the sweater in black. But knitting a sweater in black, like a sweater entirely in black, can be really hard on your eyes. And I definitely
we've talked about this with people who come in and like one person was like, do you think that this is a bad idea if I get this like mostly black yarn? And we were like, Natural light is key.
Natural light is the key. So, and we actually, now we carry Sugarbush Crisp, which is DK weight, but at the time that I decided to make this, way back when, we only carried Bold, and I love this yarn. It's a really, it's a nice squishy worsted.
Squishy, yeah.
It's superwash.
Very nice.
So I did a gauge swatch in worsted to try to figure out how I was going to adjust this pattern from being a DK to worsted. And actually, this is a thinner DK. This is like DK to sport almost.
I would call it. Like it looks like fingering.
It doesn't look like DK, but. I did my gauge swatches. I looked at the sizes of the pattern, and I figured out how I'm going to scale it so that, the nice thing about doing that too, about going from the DK to worsted, is I actually have to do fewer stitches.
Yeah, doesn't it go faster?
It goes a lot faster. So,
here, I'll hold it up to see, so you can see the pattern on there.
Yep. So that was my gauge swatch that I did probably 2 years ago, and I keep thinking, this is the perfect
2 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the perfect thing to be a summer project, because all this black yarn, I definitely want to knit as much as possible in natural light. So this year, with getting the new space ready and everything, we didn't do any kind of vacation or any kind of travel at all, or break at all. So now we're going to be gone for a week in the Adirondacks. Hopefully have good weather so we can be sitting outside and knitting and crocheting and things. And this is what I'm going to work on, because I'm planning on being in natural light.
Yes.
And I have been in this cabin before that we're going to, but not in many, many years. So I have no idea what the light situation is. I should actually bring my light. I'll bring my... Actually, I have a couple of different possibilities, but yes, we definitely are going to bring extra lighting, because if either the weather is not good or
if it's
really
sunny
cold or whatever,
there's no natural light, that kind of foils the plan.
That foils the plan yet again. So I definitely am committed to making this sweater. So
that's fun. Yeah. And also, I don't know if you've mentioned this before. I know, does Jen do the eyelets, or do you do the eyelets also, like on your swatches to show what needle size? Cause
that's
right
another
here
way.
You can see. She has done.
I did little
the
knots
exhibition knots in the tail, so. You did this on a 4, I presume. And then
being the loosest knitter in the world.
On a 3, this one. So
worsted.
So I'm not as savvy in knitting, so I'm not quite sure
most people use an 8.
But so that's
there.
five sizes down.
So there.
All right. But that's a little, not a hack, a tip.
Yes. So hopefully next time we tape, I will have some progress on this. So it's a work in progress only because I have done my gauge swatch.
And I think I have a sweater I've been wanting to make, and I saw a really good crochet cable, like tweedy sweater, so I'm going to start that.
Good. And I was also thinking about doing a Felix, and I was trying to decide the other day before I left what color to do.
I've wanted to show this many times, and every time I'm like, I forgot to bring it, but this is the Lucky Tweed. It is the color light gray 058 that I have been pining after since it was in the cart.
What about this one too? What about, because I was actually thinking we can get that.
Fog?
That's Fog. I think that's really pretty. It
is really pretty. It has it's almost got more rainbowy. Like this one's a lot, like this is like
more
neutrals, and it has like a little bit of tan, a little bit of black, a little bit of gray, a little bit of brown, and this one more has like the flecks in this one are like green, pink, blue, teal.
I don't know. I still may do this,
but I just, this one called my name months ago, and I have been dreaming of it since.
Yeah, so I'm deciding between these two for a Felix pullover, because both Jen and Amanda have them, and I need one too.
In Lucky Tweed, no less.
Lucky Tweed, exactly. So, and neither one of them use these colors. I think Amanda's is the light gray.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Jen's is the green.
It worked really quickly. They worked it up really quickly. So I may bring this as a second project.
Yes,
when we go
I'm going to bring like at least 3 tops to work on.
Oh yeah,
just
for sure.
in case, because I'm planning to mostly spend time crocheting.
Good.
And swimming.
It's a good break. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So do you want to talk about your other thing that's at home?
Since I don't have...
Oh, you're cutting up your...
Okay, well, see, during knit night, I am planning... I didn't bring my whip for knit night that I'm... Can I start over? I did not bring the whip that I'm planning to work on for knit night today to the store, because it's just plastic bags that I'm going to cut up into yarn.
And make yarn. plastic bag. Sure.
You can imagine it's a pile of plastic bags. That's what my whip looks like right now. So.
Okay. All right.
But
what
I
else
was
were you
working
going to talk about?
So since I was working on this top, that was my main whip while I was doing creative hours, and then I was at the beach and I brought a project, like I brought like one of those like long-term projects, the gumballs that, we've shown pictures
You've shown
of
the
them.
gumballs. We never did find the picture of Sarah's until after, yeah.
So I brought that, but I never worked on it, but I did read a lot because in January, one of the things, I don't necessarily do like New Year's resolutions, but I do have things that I want to do throughout the year, and I started my bullet journal in January, which was one like big thing because I had gotten over my perfectionist procrastination self of like, it can't be perfect, so I can't start it. But I was like, I just need to start
Just do it sometimes.
So I haven't done that since coming home, really. Like, I did a little bit, but it was really helpful for keeping track of my assignments and classes and readings. So I'm definitely going to do that for the semester, like, for sure. But I started a page, and most of my inspiration is from, like, Pinterest for pages and stuff, and, like,
books?
Like for pages in the bullet journal.
Right, got it. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really, like, I know a lot of people are like, I want it to be like super original, but I can trace things and copy things really well. Like drawing, I can copy and draw things, but I cannot. My brain, for some reason, is like a blank slate when I'm like, I can draw anything in the world, and it's like, make a smiley face. So that's kind of, but I got the
But so it's interesting though, like, because when you have yarn in front of you,
exactly,
you're like, exactly what you want to do.
Anything in yarn. So it's drawing is not my. I wish painting is really fun. Painting is different, but drawing is like, my brain does not function that way. But I can do yarn, so 3D is fine.
There you go. I totally get that.
So
I'm much better with the 3D as well.
Yeah. So that was a long lead into me having a page in my bullet journal that looks like a bookshelf that's inspired by.
I love that idea.
I'll put the link or the name of the artist will be here because my aunt got me a really cool book called Bibliophile that is by this artist who inspired my like idea for the bookshelf thing. So her art is like, I highly recommend you look at her stuff because it's really interesting. And she basically started by doing like commissions from people who were like, I like how my bookshelf looks with all the spines, can you draw it? And so now like her like thing is like doing piles of books with the spines and like that's like the art, and it's just so like satisfying for some reason. And so
well, also like if it's a shelf of things you've read. I mean, I've also seen where people like they have kind of the stack at the beginning of the year and then they fill in as they go, right?
So the page, I guess I'll snap a picture of what it looks like right now. The idea was to do that type of thing where have like you draw like what the spine looks like, so it looks like a little bookshelf, and it's like all the books I've read. I've read one book, and it's August, but that's
this
fine.
year, you mean?
Yes, in 2020. But so getting back to this book, which I have shown and have not introduced yet. It's been like 10 minutes. It is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and it is so good. And I started it, I think, like 2 summers ago.
Wow.
When we were upstate, and it was like, I was also reading a book for school that was like 800 pages, and I had to annotate it, so that kind of pushed this to the back burner. But since I'm getting back into reading, which I have not, I have done a dismal amount of reading, this is the book I started with, and it's just so refreshing and like nice to have like just a very narrative book, you know, and like it's like a story. So I am reading. This is what I read at the beach while I was there. So this is technically what my work in progress was because I wasn't crocheting, but I was reading. So
that's good. And you know, I never actually, it's terrible, but I listen to tons of books.
Audiobooks are very valid.
Oh, I know. I mean, I've probably listened to 20 books this year.
Yeah.
I bet I have.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's an achievement, I'd say.
And actually the last one that I listened to that I completed was Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really so impactful. And it's actually, if you listen, as I do, it's like I don't think about books in terms of length, like pages.
Yeah,
I think about it
time.
length in terms of hours. I think it's like 5 hours, maybe. It's really not. It's actually
and most
quite
are around
short.
20 hours, about right.
I mean,
they
it
vary,
depends. They vary, but like 14
like
hours is
longer.
not unusual. For like, some 12, 13, 14 hours is probably 300, 400 pages, I would guess. Just, based on how long the average novel is and, whatever. But yeah, I think in terms of hours.
Well, I do get that because, like, I do also feel, like, I know this is how you feel and why you mostly listen to audiobooks, but I do get the, like, want and, like, urge to, like, that you're not doing enough if you're just reading a book. However, I
think if you can, that's great. Yeah. I have gotten to the point where, I don't know, my brain is so busy so much of the time with, like, when I actually sit down with a book and I'm reading, my mind wanders. It's terrible. Where if I've got knitting needles in my hand and yarn, I'm totally focused on, I'm creating something, but I'm listening to the book and I'm absorbing it so much better. And sometimes I do, it's not like I never tune out. Sometimes I occasionally tune out, but you hit that little button, back 10 seconds, or somebody walks in. Usually my husband walks in the room and
like,
even though I've got my headphones on, he's like, starts talking. I'm like, 1 second. So pause it and go back. But, so, whether you want to read a paper book, which is fabulous, or listen, I use Audible pre-COVID days, I would get a lot of audiobooks from the library. You still can do that. I think it's just a little harder. But, I like Audible. It's like a treat to myself every month. I get, I have a monthly subscription and I get a credit and that you can use for any book. And sometimes they have sales. You can get like 2 for 1 and things on selected books. But sometimes I have like 4 or 5 credits stored up so that, if I am going to get what my book group is doing or whatever, or a lot of times I like to listen to multiple things, in a series. So I find something that I like and then I go on to the next thing. So sometimes I'll kind of stack them all up and have them waiting. And other times it's kind of nice to have those credits there and then be like, I'll hear about something on the radio, and then I'll be like, okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
And it was funny because for the longest time, Audible, you could only use your credits on their website. Like, they had an app that you listened through, but you couldn't buy things through the app.
That's annoying.
So within 2020, at some point, they did change that, and you can now, actually buy your books through the app. So I'm sure they're selling a lot more books because of that. Yeah. It's very, you think about it, you're like, okay, I'm going to download that, and you just go ahead and do it. So.
Yeah, and that's not to say, like, I very much appreciate people who do just read books. Like, it's just like some people like feel like multitasking is like the. But I did like intentionally. I think it's great if you can.
I used to just read.
Yeah, like when because I was at the beach, I was like, I just need to like slow down a little bit.
Yeah,
so I was like,
great.
I'm just gonna read.
That's great.
I read my book on the roof in the hot tub.
Very nice. Very nice.
And I did not drop anything in the hot tub, a phone or
no good.
Book, so
I'm glad.
0 for 0.
Very nice. So I have my Noro mitered square blanket that I've been working on, and I'm actually doing this as a throw.
For the store, right?
Yeah, this is going to be a store sample. It's Noro Tsubame, which is so pretty. It's really feels kind of luscious to work with. It's wool and silk.
It's definitely. I wish you could feel it, like, or if you are in the store anytime you can once it's done.
That's right. No,
but it is really like I was just pinning it together, the little squares, and it's so soft and like squishy and nice.
It's 50 silk, 25 wool, and 25 poly. So, it's a really nice blend, and it's got a little bit of a sheen to it because of the silk.
But not enough that you would like notice it from a glance. Like you have to like look at it and you see that. But it's really nice. It's a nice little touch.
So one thing I did with this throw, and this is the reason I'm showing it, because there's been a little bit of progress on it, but I think it may be upside down too. Is this? Yeah, this is the other end. So there we go. So one thing that I was doing as I was working along on this, I noticed, and if we hold it all the way up and see the bottom, the first column and the third column, they were almost identical. And actually, they were the first and second strips that I did. So I made sure when I started my third strip that it started with a different part of the color. And interestingly, I mean, this is my fourth strip now, and it's probably up here. Yeah, it looks like it kind of matches those colors. So that is one thing. If you're doing this kind of blanket,
it works out to be,
with
oh
a
no,
long,
it's this square.
With a long color change, you just want to be sure that you're not, I mean, unless you really want it to be exactly the same in each thing, which you might, but then there is always the chance that the each skein is not going to match exactly. So, and the reason I have these pinned now is I'm going to, as I seam them, I always match those points where each square ends. So, yeah. So anyway, this is coming along nicely. It's really nice. Really good TV knitting.
It's a really good blanket. Nice feel.
Yeah, it's really nice and luxurious. So that will be, hopefully this will be finished before we go on vacation. We shall see. All right, so I think that is it. Oh, and I'm sorry, the name of that is To the Point.
Yes.
And it is also by Rosemary Drysdale, as is my lace top that I finished.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, it is funny. Synchronicity.
So let's move on to works in progress. I have several things works in progress. I'll start with the granny squares because I have a whole passel of centers that I'm working on. So right now I'm holding this pile of, the way that I do granny squares, at least for this project, I pick a number, right? So I'm going to do 12, say. And I do all of the centers first, making these little chippy things. And then I'll do all of the second color. And then I'll do all of the third color and the fourth color. So then at the end, I'll have 12 finished squares. So right now I have a whole bunch of centers in purple and yellow. And I'm working on the second color of the yellows, which is the dark green. This is what it's going to be. This is where we're at. And then I'll work on the second color of the purples, which is a medium green. So this is a good thing to do when you're watching TV. It's very potato chippy, where you're like, it doesn't take that long, especially this size, right? Like, how long does it take to do 2 rows of crochet granny square? Not long at all. So it's great for like that kind of short period of chunks of time. And I just brought my entire project bag, which I have my yarn in. I don't know if you could see that. Oh, and some of the centers, which I don't want to make them fall out. And then underneath all of that, I have my finished squares. So I just brought this bag over to my cousin's place. She is also staying at the Cape right now. And she's learning to crochet. So we were gonna like crochet time and work on that a little bit, which we did, but then we got distracted chatting from opposite ends of her lawn. So it's nice. But so that's project 1. Project 2, different project bag. I am working on the summer sorrel. I am 3/4 of the way through the chart. The chart is where you have the dip stitches in this sweater. It's a top-down sweater with a really cool cast on that is the I-cord cast on. And it's a little hard to see. Right now it looks flared. It looks like this should be the neck and this should be the edge, but it is the opposite. So what I have right now is the neckline and then the rest of it squished onto a 24-inch needle. So I don't know if you can see those dips. They're super cute. They're super easy to do. And I basically have gotten the pattern mostly memorized. Of course, by the time I have it fully memorized, the chart is going to change, and the kind of like sorrel stripes will stagger a little bit. But you know, that's the way of anything. So I've been working on this pretty steadily. It's gone relatively quickly, but I haven't been able to work on it quite as much as I would like to do, just because life, various different things, and my kids aren't in camp right now, so I don't have big chunks of time or chunks of time at all anyway. So this I am knitting in Madeline Tosh Sock, I believe, which is a fingering weight yarn, and I cannot remember what color this is. Maybe it's Steam Age. I know we have different colors or similar colors in store, and I was actually originally looking at some of the Spun Right round for this. But I mean, the Summer Sorrel has been a little bit of a long project in that I can't make a decision, and without mental bandwidth, I really can't make a decision. So I was having some real indecisive problems about what yarn, what color, what size, when do I start? Am I going to do short sleeves? Am I going to do long sleeves? So the short sleeves I'm going to leave till last because this is a top-down sweater. Once I do the yoke, it'll be basically straightforward, and so I can try it on, which is one of the reasons why top-down sweaters are fantastic. I can try it on as I go to see, like, do I want it cropped to wear over like a dress? Or do I want it longer and kind of be more cash, wear with jeans? And that will, once I decide on that length, that'll help me decide long sleeve, short sleeve, 3/4 sleeve. At the moment, I'm leaning towards 3/4 sleeve. I'm not sure though. So if you guys have a strong opinion, short sleeve, 3/4 sleeves. I don't love long sleeves, a full long sleeve. I like a 3/4. I like it to hit right there. And one of the tips that I have is that if you have a very specific way that you like to wear sweaters, measure one that you like or measure where you want things to hit. So you know, like my underarm to where I like it to hit is X amount. So when a sweater says knit until the sleeve is 16 inches from the underarm, you can say, hold up. I like my sweater to be 16.5 from the underarms. And that way also, if you know that ahead of time and you have it written down, what you can do is that you can always just reference and cross-check, because one of the things that's the easiest to change in a pattern is length. The length of the body, the length of the sleeve, less so the length of and the depth of the yoke, but that's for other reasons. So just ignore that for now. So it's a lot easier to change those other lengths to suit you. So if there's nothing to say that if a sweater is long sleeve, you can't make it short sleeve, or vice versa. You just have to know how to go about it. And if you guys, want to know any other kind of a special things of how to go about stuff, just hit me up, let me know, comment down below, send us an email, and I can go into more depth. As Amanda and Kathleen know, I will ramble forever about that, so trying to keep it short. One of the other things I didn't mention this in finished objects. One of the other things I did is I filmed a couple of tutorials before I left New Jersey for vacation, so hopefully those are helpful. I'm not sure at what stage in the process those are going to be, but look for them if they're not floating around somewhere. What did I do? Joining in a new yarn. I think I did a couple of increases and decreases, talking about that stuff that like folks get tripped up on pretty easily that, I could just explain. Let's see. What else do I have? Oh, attached to one of my other bags is my other work in progress that I have now officially deemed my long-term work in progress. It's the Dame de Fer Cardigan. It's also fingering weight. I really love this pattern, but I'm now at the not boring. I do love stockinette. I'm now at the stockinette portion, so I'm past the yoke. I don't know if you can see, and I'm at the back and forth part, so I'm still working on the yoke depth. And this is one that I got stymied for a little bit because I had to wind a ball of yarn. And that was upstairs and this was downstairs, and like, guys, that's a lot of mental energy. So that was on hold for a bit. But then I wound the yarn and now I just need to actually keep going with it. So, but that's, I gotta be in the right mood for it. And honestly, like, who am I kidding? Like, New and Shiny have come along with the Summer Sorrel, and I'm like, oh, let's do this one instead, because not purling 300 stitches back. So, also, what else is in my bag? I brought the yarn for the Flea Ladies cardigan. I still have not, I've swatched multiple things. I did not bring all of the swatches, the reject swatches with me. But I'm still trying to pick a colorway. I have the colorway. What I'm trying to do is assign the colors to the color chart. And that tends to be where I fall down. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time because I'm like, this looks pretty. So does this. So what about this? What if I did that? Again, decision making, not my strong suit right now. Really, really kind of tricky. Yeah. So that is my work in progress, right? That was what I was talking about. Works in progress. There we go. Okay.
New in store. Kathleen's going to podcast from the store, so I presume she has all the stuff from the store. One of the things I'm super excited about is we did get our Mochi delivery. Yay! If you don't know what Mochi is, those are little knitted creatures by Anna Hrakovic. So Anna Hrakovic makes these tiny little creatures, right? You might have seen little gifts of the gnome. She makes like little cactus, little knitted hot dogs. I've made some of these before. This is her book, right? Teeny Tiny Mochi. And then I have her other book. This is teeny tiny ones. These are knitted Mochi. These are a little bit bigger, right? Like these are some hippo house shoes, but they're eating your feet. Yeah, they're really cute. See, here's the back. Little pencil. They're the cutest things ever. I love these. But I saw her, she was on the Fruity Knitting podcast a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, she does kits. Like I said, we don't carry her books. They're through even a different publisher. I can't get them through her. But I got mine on Amazon. I would get them at a local bookseller if they carried them. We can work on that. But I love them. These are so much fun. I've knit the reindeer. I put them on little Christmas presents, right? Just like instead of a bow, little reindeer. I knit the firecracker once for 4th of July for an Instagram post at Yarnia. I knit the bunny for my mom for this spring to send her for a little happy birthday present. But yeah, I mean, like, these are great little, I've got an hour, I want to make a little knitted cute something for my friend. Excellent. But the thing is, you have to have lots of colors of solid yarn, right? Because, right, if you're knitting this gnome, you need red and peach and white and brown and black for the eyes. And that can get sort of expensive if you don't have a lot of leftovers sitting around your house in all the right colors. So that's why I was saying we got the kits in. We did get the gnome kit in too. We got, and I'll let Kathleen show you the kits, or if she doesn't, I'll put a picture in here. But yeah, we got like a little cat, 2 different kinds of cats, and a cat in a box, and a dog, a fox, a little owl, narwhal, unicorn. So yeah, and so each kit comes with just enough yarn to make 2 or 3 of that little item. Yeah, and you're not buying tons of skeins of yarn to make these cute little dudes. Yay! Yeah, because the year that I did reindeer, I think I needed a dark brown and a light brown and a red and a black. And I did end up buying 4 skeins of Cascade 220 fingering to make like 5 reindeer, and now I've got basically whole skeins. I need to make more reindeer for this holiday season. Yeah, the kits are great. Yay, love them. So we just got those in the shop. If you're like, hey, I want a quick project, I want something to take on a vacation, I want a little gift for a friend, totally recommend. They come with a pattern, all the yarn you need, and some little stuffing to go inside them. Yay. So that's our new in-store. Kathleen might have a couple other things, but that's the one I'm super excited about. And also just super excited to be back in the store at all. Seeing everybody, it's been wonderful. I've been there for 2 weekends now, looking forward to being there again this weekend, and seeing all you guys, answering questions, about what should I use for this project or that project. We can help fix mistakes if you drop your mistake off with a little description of what's gone wrong, your name and phone number, and somebody can fix it, get you back on the right track, and give it back to you. We're not doing in-person help time, but we do have Zoom help as well with Susan, if you want to learn how to fix it yourself.
Let's see what's new in store. New in store is the store. We have the new store. I hope you've come and visited it. Hopefully you'll be able to come see it and come see it soon. One of the things we're also working on is trying to figure out how to do online classes. Specifically, I think my sweater class is going to be a bit of a guinea pig in this. So look for those announcements coming soon. And yeah, I'm sure Kathleen and Amanda have more because right now my store is here. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys all for watching and listening to us yammer on. We really appreciate it. I hope you will like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes of Chronicles of Yarnia. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, which you can sign up at shopyarnia.com. And scroll all the way down and there's a newsletter sign up if you don't already get it. If you're unsure, just sign up. We only send it out once a week. But we have a lot of news and information and stuff that's new in store and all kinds of announcements come out through that. So, and you never know when you might see one of your projects highlighted in the newsletter. So in the meantime, follow us on Ravelry, on Instagram, on what else? Snapchat as Shop Yarnia, and then on Facebook as Yarnia LLC. And we will see you guys later.
All right, so that's it from us for now. If you like our podcast, like and subscribe.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, please
follow,
comment. We do like
ring the bell.
Oh, and actually, one thing we forgot to say, and we shouldn't have this all the way at the end, but Judy, one of our podcast watchers and customers, was so sweet to, after Haley mentioned how much she liked the patterns that she gave her, she dropped off little packages one for me and Haley, and one for Jen, and one for Amanda, which was so sweet, and also gave us a mannequin, like a bust-up mannequin that we will use in the store for some display. So thank you, Judy. We really appreciate it.
The book was really cute. I kind of want to leave it in the store so people can flip through.
Yeah, it was a Franklin Habit book, so that was really nice. So, as we said, that's it from us.
Stay safe.
Yeah, and
be good people to other people. Treat people with kindness, as Harry Styles would say.
That's right. Yes, we've been playing a lot of Harry Styles and stuff. That new album is so excellent. It's not even that new anymore.
Stream Fine Line.
It's really, really good.
It's on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you can get the tunes.
And now that we're here, come visit us in the store. Yes, we are. We don't. We haven't been doing the appointment thing. Some people ask, "Are you doing appointments?" What we're doing that seems to be working pretty well so far is we are limiting it to 3 to 4 customers at a time. If there are 2 of us working. We say this earlier? I think
you said this in the intro.
Oh my goodness.
We have come full circle.
At least I realized as I was saying it that I was saying. All right, so
our policies.
Amanda, please edit this out.
We've been doing all that we can to keep us safe and customers safe, and but we have people in the store and safely. So come stop by. And if you're not able to or not comfortable, we still offer curbside and online, our brand new store.
Yes. I'm assuming Amanda will have talked about that.
Yes.
She did.
She
worked very hard on that. So all right.
That's us. We're out for today.
Rambling. Always. Oh well.
Peace out.
Take care. Bye. Talk to you again soon. Hi, it's time for our Yarnia tour. Here we go. The real sun will be there eventually. All right. And we're gonna come on in. Welcome! Sorry, Haley, I kind of cut your face off. So, we're just gonna do a little tour of Yarnia. So, got our window displays, which is so nice to have a full window display now. Got our sample area. Then we move into our fingering area. Got lots of shelves of stuff. We've got lots of hanging, skeins of fingering, ancient arts, mantosh, lots of different kinds of knitted wit. Move into some sport, more fingering, and then eventually on to DK. Got a whole lovely shelf of all of our different DKs. Hope I'm not moving too much. Then we're into alpaca, cashmere, other luxury fibers. And then in the middle of the store, so a lot of the ones on the left and the right are hand dyes and things, and then the commercially dyed yarns are in some of these big cabinets here. We've got lots of Cascade 128 that a lot of folks like for blankets. We've got Sugarbush Bold, which is one of our worsteds that people love. It's a really nice soft worsted. We have it in 28 colors, I think. Just go around and do the rest of these cabinets. This is Diamond Superwash, also a worsted superwash, obviously from the name. That we have in about 30 colors. Another good choice for blankets and things, hats. And then we're here into Sugarbush Chill and Cascade Eco Wool. So those are, some of the most popular yarns that we sell that are, commercial, that are not hand dyed. Then we've got a whole cabinet of Noro here, starting with Bache and Tsubame, Crayon, Silk Garden Solo. Then we've got worsted cabinets, a lot of your faves, more worsted. Definitely a very big seller with us, both superwash and non. Then this is one of my favorite parts of the store because we've got a place to hang those donuts so that they don't jump off the shelves.
They used to be a nightmare.
Yes, they're no longer a nightmare. They hang now, which is very nice. We've got the lovely Water Street DK from Northlight, and got Drizzle from Sugarbush, a couple of Katia yarns, Alpaca Silver, Cotton Merino. Those have both been popular. Yeah, some of these yarns are just so much better hanging. It's really nice to be able to show them off and let them have their beauty out there for everyone to see. One of the other things that's so nice is now we've got a place to keep super bulkies all year round, so that when somebody comes in July and says, yes, I want to make a super bulky hat, we can help them right then and there. Got a whole cabinet of cotton and linen. Again, we'll be able to have this year round so that, if it's somebody traveling from a warmer climate or somebody with a sensitivity to wool, we're going to have a lot of choices for them all year round now. Then we move into our second room. We've got the baby area. Lots of nice baby yarns, many of them from King Cole. Got our nice little brick wall here. We're still going to do some decoration with that. Lots of nice little nooks here for different things like our gleaners, our ruler rolls, soak, our little magazine area. Then, this is one cabinet. We've got Haley's beautiful Y that she did, our little store decoration. We've got a whole shelf of Leica sets and lots of coconuts, which we love. And a bunch of different things from Acreworks and Snoozies and Love and Leche. Then a whole place that we can highlight our spinning fibers and spinning tools. So, yeah, so that is most of the merchandise. Then as you come around back here, we've got our classroom area, which sadly we're not using now, but we will be, we hope, in the maybe not too distant future. We'll see. Got some locked storage. We've got a restroom. Back here we're going to have, we'll see. We're still working on this. We've got a few ideas of things we might bring in, but we do have our sale area. Got one of our 2 pegboards with Toft animals. Oh yeah, actually I was reshelving some things here today, did not finish. I'll get back to that when I'm back here on a Friday morning. And we've got a nice little office area. We're going to be working on that. We've got Haley. Hi, Haley. this is one of our new developments for today, and in and out, because we have people, you know, when we've got returns, we keep them quarantined for a couple of days before they get back on the shelf. We've got things for curbside pickup and online orders and repairs. We've got our little register area with our nice giant plexiglass to keep everybody safe. We've got our winder and Swift. This is our main pegboard with most of our, you know, all of our fixed circular needles, lots of interchangeables. Then we've got pom-poms and catrinkles and all kinds of things. So I think that's pretty much it. That is the 5-minute tour of the new Yarnia. Oh yeah, we've got a back door, which is so nice. That makes it a little easier to do curbside pickup. There's a parking lot back there. A lot of the spots are metered if you're here in person, but still very nice to have, you know, the convenience of a fair amount of parking around the store. So that is it from us for now. Bye, Haley. Take care. Hope to see you all at the new Yarnia very soon.
Bye.
I'm an
COVID
enzyme
is an
sometime.
enzyme. We're not being scientific. We're really not.
I just like using enzymes as metaphors, allegories.
Metaphors.
Everything's an enzyme.
Okay.